Hello, welcome to Timeless Conversations, a channel where we talk about life and adulting,
The ups
the downs,
and everything in between.
My name is Sharon.
My name is Aisha.
And my name is Robinah. Today, we'd like to talk about black tax. Black tax is something that only us Africans know. It's a privilege that the white people don't know about this, but it's something that really affects us as Black people. Not to sound racist, but it's the truth. So I wanted to define it so that we properly understand before we delve into the conversation. So according to an internet source, black tax is a financial burden borne by Black people, like I said, who have achieved a level of success and who provide support to less financially secure family members. These monetary transfers are generally between middle class, that's debatable, and well-to-do, debatable still, people and relatives who are struggling to make ends meet. But usually, in our context, you don't even have to be well-to-do for you to be affected by this black tax thing.
As long as you
Like,
earn.
I know, as long as you have a source of income and you have family that depends on you,
You expect to remit.
black tax on you.
A
Right.
deduction.
You know? So today we want to delve into the conversation about black tax and how it affects us. So, ladies, do you have any experience around black tax?
Black tax. Personally, I don't have a clear experience of, because one, the people that normally other people experience it with, for me, it's not what it is. Of like, my parents are okay. My sister who lives abroad, who would be like the only person that would expect the black tax, does not require it. But it's the cousins, the extended family really that requires me to remit
That
the
is
black
still
tax.
black tax,
Yeah.
baby
So
girl.
yeah, I've experienced it, but not as much as most people do. Because I've not had the experience of paying tuition for a younger sibling. I've not had the experience of building a home for my parents. So I would be lying if
Privilege,
I
privilege.
What's up? It's fun.
Middle class and well-to-do.
Yeah, I would say, but really, when I look at my friends and myself, for them, they experience it a notch higher than I do.
Auntie, we want that small experience.
That experience is there. So regardless, I think of the status. If you're Black, somehow you find yourself in that trap.
Yeah. And I feel like even with the way Black families, African families are structured, you kind of find yourself in a situation whereby it's inevitable to, like have that, because first of all, we don't exactly have that many nuclear families. They are there, but there are very few. Most of the Black families, most of the African families, when us in Uganda, most of them are extended families. So you find that it's you, your parents, your grandparents, your cousins, your brothers. So you actually grow up whereby it's not even a cousin, it's your brother, it's your sister. It's more like, your brothers, your sisters, because that's how you've been brought up, looking at, all these people as family.
It's just a Black
And because
community.
because you've grown with these people, you find that it's hard to say no, just like how it would be hard for you to say no to if you grew up and it's just you, your parents, and maybe like your siblings, where you share a mom and a dad, or maybe just a mom or dad. So yeah, I would say yes, I have greatly experienced it. Greatly.
Black tax.
Yes.
I also have experience around it, but I wouldn't say that it's in a completely negative way. I think I have been happy to pay forward the black tax in my context. There are also other instances where I have deliberately refused to. Because I think black tax comes with some sense of entitlement. from the people that are asking.
That is true.
And for me, when you ask with that sort of entitlement, I become stubborn and just do not yield to your requests, because I need you to ask, because it's not your money.
I know.
You know, you're asking for help, but you're asking from a point of entitlement. So for me, that's where I become stubborn. But usually when you ask from a place of I'm stuck and I need your help, and I can genuinely come in, I usually do. But let's dive into that particular experience that you had with Black Tax. How was it like? Who was it coming from? How was your response?
Actually, for me, that time I started hearing about Black Tax was from my late brother. He used to talk about it a lot. Like, I think because he experienced it firsthand. So when he would tell me about it, it seemed like it had weighed on him quite a lot.
It does weigh on you.
But when I started researching about Black Tax, of course, after starting to earn, I realized that this is something that was passed on generations to generations. I think it was a thing of like, you know, Africans were way smarter even before colonialism. I think it was their way of social security before we started getting jobs. So of like you give money to a relative, whoever is in need, then expecting that when they are better off, they will pay back somehow. Or even if they didn't pay to you, they would pay it forward to your children or whoever that is still in the same circle. So I don't think Black Tax is all that bad. Although for me, my experience with it has not been all that glossy as well. To be honest, I feel like sometimes it seemed like I was, giving money to ungrateful and wasteful people. Because you realize someone will not even care if you have the money or not. As long as they know that you're earning, you have a monthly paycheck, they will check in on you. And they will have expectations.
To see how they can get their share.
Yes. And the expectations are not low. Matter of fact, if they have a range within which they think you earn, even their contribution to them will be in that range. You get my point. So for me, I feel like Black Tax, first of all, should be eliminated. Somehow. Of course, it's
not
a societal
entirely.
The society has given us this platform, and I mean, it is passed down generations to generations. But we are the ones that stop that cycle. If somehow you don't do something about it, you'll find yourself entangled generations to generations. And I promise you, even our children, if we don't break that cycle, will find themselves paying Black Tax.
I think the only way to avoid us passing it on to the next generation is have parents, have children you can take care of and plan for your retirement. Your children are not they are not your social security. They are not your life insurance. Your part is to take your responsibility, take care of them, and let them be. I do not want to be that mom who will depend on their child a few years from now. I want to make sure that I am independent enough, even in my retirement, and not bother some child who is trying to also build a future for themselves.
Absolutely.
And for me, that's how I look at it. Yeah.
And even the Bible tells us that, leave an inheritance for your children.
And then you are here taking some of the inheritance.
But something I thought occurred to me, that it was much easier, if you reflect, it was much easier early in our careers, before we had responsibilities of our own. I mean, when it was just me still staying at my parents' home, and all I am spending on is my lunch, my transport, and,
a few basics here and there.
A few basic, yes, keep my hair
nice and neat.
And chipping in on bills,
exactly,
if you can.
Yes. And my parents never even expected me to do that because, But now, because we have our own responsibilities, we have families, we are running homes, that's why we actually feel the burden of having to, quote unquote, pay the black tax. And what's unfortunate is, I think the people who used to depend on us at the time probably sometimes fail to realize like the shift in the dynamics. So it's when they fail to realize that shift in dynamics that,
you know, things have changed.
yeah, that it's like back then I was able to pay school fees for my nephew because I had enough left over. But now I have to think of my own son's, you know, school fees. So I feel like that's one of the main reasons as to why, first of all, it becomes a burden.
Yeah.
But I just hope that they would also get to that point and also realize that this person also has responsibilities now, and I should be more understanding and, you know, expect less from them. Yeah.
Unfortunately, there
I
are
know.
the people who want black tax from you are rarely understanding. Yeah, but so I feel like we should delve into how we should pay this black tax, but in a way that will allow us to stay sane, not affect our savings, but also be able to support our families, because I feel like it's inevitable in our culture to not pay black tax at all. I feel like somehow you find yourself in a position where you have to support your family. So how can we do this without overly affecting ourselves as the people that are paying this forward?
First of all, you're right, Robinah, when you say that these people expect, we are raised by a village, you know?
That's not sure. I don't know which village raised me.
So that village that raised
It is
you,
there.
it is there.
Your mom knows it. You may not know it, but you don't know what happened in the background. Which auntie, you know, supported here, which uncle
I know
supported
they
here.
did. I know they did.
So that there's a village, an invisible
So that
one.
village is the one that needs to
Yeah.
to somehow be paid back. Me, what I've learned about black tax is that those who want it will keep taking until you have none to give.
And takers have no limits. They will
Exactly.
keep taking.
So you yourself who understand your financial standing at that time, you should take initiative to, you know, find a way of communicating that, you know what, this is how I am right now. I am able to give this much or none at all, basing on my capability right now. When you look at your financials, if they're not looking nice and all, you should be able to communicate. Yeah, and not feel guilty about it, because it's okay. Like, we are humans. We go through financial struggle. We all, as much as the economy go through recessions and booms, we do too, you know? So me, I've learned, first of all, myself and my close people first. Before I take care of a cousin's wedding, before I take care of anyone who is sick, my children are not going to suffer just because I have someone to take care of out there. No. So for me, I've learned to put myself first. And by the way, this is something I learned recently. If I don't have money for disposal nearby, I will not go to one ATM to withdraw money. Unless it is, first of all, someone that like really needs, not someone who wants. You get my point? Of like, you're real in need, and I can evaluate the level of your neediness, even if it is it even a word? Your level of needing that money should be something I can evaluate and be able to give you money. Otherwise, no.
Like, how do we evaluate? How do you then verify? Sometimes these people just want to get money from you.
You know, anyway, sometimes I ask, because even if you wanted to go up to a bank for a loan, the bank will ask you, what are you going to use the money for?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So when you ask someone, what do you need the money for? They will either tell you, I want to celebrate my child's birthday.
Oh, God.
My friend. They tell you, all right, I need this money for tuition, stuff like that.
Interesting. For me, I want to add just onto what you're saying. Put yourself first. this money that you're making, it is your body making that money.
Mm.
Make sure that you're well catered for. Make sure that your children are well catered for. Make sure that your family is well catered for before you start thinking about the outside people. Takers have no limit. You have to limit yourself. Like, you have to know. And it's best if you have a budget and you put a monthly amount for black tax. Put some amounts there that you know you're willing to lose. Those things of lending money with family members doesn't work.
It doesn't.
You guys,
They will never pay back. Just allow.
and you
so
become
that,
the enemy meanwhile.
yes, and yet it's your money.
You're trying to follow up your money.
Right? So make sure that you're well catered for before you try and cater for everyone out there. Don't deprive yourself of your basic needs just because you want to sort someone else's basic need. Yeah. Sharon?
Yeah, but it's really important what you guys are saying about like self-care and thinking about yourself first. It's something I had to learn, because it's very easy to find yourself in a position whereby you're giving, and then you get to a point and you don't have even enough for your own basic needs, and you have to now go and borrow.
Please don't get yourself in debt because of black tax.
So, and sometimes it's so sad that you have people who are always coming to you,
but you have no one to run to.
Exactly.
And actually, it happens all the time.
It does.
It's usually the
So you
case.
find that. So I had to get to a point whereby I had to, know that, okay, these are my monthly constants. Like Robinah said, like, you have a budget to know what your monthly constants are. And if the money you have in your account, this notion of I don't have money doesn't necessarily mean that I don't have cash in my
means
pocket.
I don't have money to
That's
give.
not committed. Like, all the money I have is committed. But if it is someone whom I know is going to maybe like needs money and will be able, and if they say that I'll give it to you in 2 weeks when my salary comes, it's easy for me to give that person, because they have first of all shown me that they'll be able to actually pay it back. But when it is usually family, and chances are high that the money is not going to come back in the time you need it,
Right?
you'd rather say you don't have the money, because time is going to come and this money was probably meant for you to pay a car for your house.
And your
And
kids
maybe
stay
now, like,
there.
maybe as a family, you plan for finances. Like, as a married person, for example, how would you go back and say, now the money that we had planned for me to spend on this, like,
I've given it.
those are conversations that are not easy to have.
But
Yeah?
these are conversations that are actually happening in most families.
Exactly,
You've
they're
heard
happening.
of stories where a woman is hated by in-laws because they think that their brother, their uncle is neglecting them because
of the
Since
wife.
they got married.
Yes, they got married. Like, for
Yeah.
them, they feel like, this woman is actually another problem because black tax is
yes.
not being remitted on time.
Yes.
Actually, when I was
Very true.
reading up on this conversation, I stumbled upon some guy who was giving a solution to that. So for him, he said that in his family, what he does is, first of all, when a family member, for example, if a family member of his asks for money, what he does is, he says, let me ask my wife. I don't have money right now, but let me ask my wife and see if she can sort that.
That's not so smart though.
Listen. So
it kind of makes it seem like the
it
wife
makes
is
that
advising.
person it makes that person feel bad to even ask, because it's your wife going to pull the money and pay. So he said that yes.
It's two-way though.
But then the wife gets to be
It
hated.
goes back to what
No,
she was
listen
saying.
to the story. So he said he tells the person, I'm going to talk to my wife because I don't have money at the moment. So then he talks to his wife, and then it's the wife that sends the money, even if he's giving the money. So it's the wife sending the money. He's kind of covering the wife to the in-laws, but then he's also making that person feel bad about asking for money. You get?
Those ones are not Ugandans.
No,
Ugandans!
some people will feel bad having to borrow from their in-laws.
Feeling bad about borrowing.
From in-laws.
Nga, it's the wife. The one you're talking ill about who has given you the money. So he said that they do that vice versa. So when it's the wife family, they do the same.
But yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah,
as
like
well, yeah.
by the way, I would feel bad. I'm there asking my brother, and then it's the wife who's giving me money.
That is normal culture here. They won't feel bad.
Really?
They won't.
Because they don't have conscience.
First of all, what you need to realize is that these people don't feel any remorse whether you have or not. For you telling them that I don't have right now, you ask my wife.
Anyway, maybe I think it's...
For them, they think that it's the same family. Whether the money is coming from you, whether it's coming from your wife, or whether, as long as they're getting, I mean, the whole point is getting money.
I think it's context.
For them does not matter.
Yeah.
However,
so to some people,
that would sound smart for like, well, you know, some beggars have some ego. Of like
pride.
Yeah, like a pride of me. Let me be proud whether I want the money or not. But my friend, not everybody.
No, I think it also depends on like the family.
Family
I think it's I think it has a lot to do with family dynamics and context under which this black tax is being paid. But bottom line is cover your spouse from your family. And also, like, I feel like it should be paid in consensus with your spouse. Yeah, because sometimes you will end up draining your resources without discussing it with your significant other, and then it brings problems. You know, money is one of the biggest things that affects families. So you need to be very careful when you're trading on these grounds, honestly.
Actually, as a married woman, I feel like that is a no-go zone.
What do you mean?
Of wanting to discuss with your husband every time you have to give out money to a relative, right? There's a way it puts your family's their stature in jeopardy, because I mean, then that makes it look like the husband married into a family of problems, and
unless his family doesn't ask.
Yeah.
But also
his
then,
family is also
what if his family is well off and yours isn't?
Transparency.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the issue of like motivation. Like,
in what way?
Even you as the person who is like giving this black tax. First of all, I feel like whenever we give grudgingly, first of all, we don't get blessings.
It's true.
And the Bible also tells us that, you know, God loves a cheerful giver. So every time I find myself in a situation whereby someone has asked me for money and I'm grumbling, I feel like I would rather say no. Because I don't want to sit on my blessing even as I'm giving this person. So first of all, what's your motivation as you're giving this person or blessing this person? But then also, take note, is it a cycle whereby this person is, you know, always coming and asking for the same need? Because you can't keep giving handouts. I call them handouts because that's what they are.
Yeah.
If someone comes and asks and you just give them money every time, you're not helping them. But try and find a way of how can you help this person to grow? Like, you know, talk it out with the person. Like, okay, so like, what are you trying to do? How are you trying to grow yourself so that you move away from this situation whereby you're always struggling, the rent is not adding up, school fees for the kids is not adding up? Because if it's a cycle, then that means that, you know, the problem is bigger than just a one-off situation where the person has no money. And if it's a bigger problem, then what are you going to do about it? So you try and find ways, if the person is actually willing,
you teach them to fish.
If the person has a teachable spirit, because there is also you wanting to help someone to show them that, you know, there's a better way, as opposed to you always coming to ask me for money. If the person is willing to be taught, then offer the advice.
What if they're in their old age? If your parents are old and they need your constant support, what happens?
I mean, with your parents,
But I
it's
think
like a
it's
no-brainer. For your parents, I mean, if it so happens that your parents have found themselves in a situation where they're not able to have that retirement fund set up, not everyone is that fortunate. Depending on the circumstances, maybe all the money they made was to you.
After
Yeah.
yes.
It's not that they squandered it or anything like that. So if that's the situation, plan your finances such that you know that every month I have to set aside this money to give to my parents as an allowance. I feel like that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But also, I think we classify who gets to have this money.
Yeah.
Because there are those that it's your obligation.
Yes.
Like your parents, really. I even, for some reason, I don't even classify them under black tax.
It is the black tax itself.
It is, indeed, it is.
Yes.
However, for some reason, I feel like our parents, it's an obligation.
Is it?
Yes, it is. As Africans, that is how it is. Like, it is social security.
Are you going to let your parents?
We just empower them because you see, and I think this is something that sets us apart from the whites, because whites, as soon as someone gets of age, they go to a shelter.
But the children pay for the shelter, don't they?
Thank you. They pay for it, but remember that is
Or
more
sometimes
like
they use their retirement
But
benefits.
now, because we don't have shelter, thankfully, anyway, because I don't believe in that system anyway, I feel like it is more of an obligation when our parents are of age for us to take care of them. The only problem comes with the entitlement, because there are parents out there also who make it such a big deal that, you know, I don't want, I know parents who put like set the bar too high. You know, parents that I don't want to go to that hospital. I'll prefer Nakasero. I don't want
please.
to eat that. Yes.
Are you the one paying the bills?
Now I'm telling
If you can
parents out
afford,
there,
why not?
I want you to be okay, but don't come with
yes,
entitlement.
if you can afford, but the moment you start complaining about the black tax, then that means that you're not comfortable with it that way. So I'm thinking, like, for us to break that cycle, because remember, if you waste all your youth money on your parents, that means that your children are now going to be the ones to take care of you, and the cycle will never break. So I feel like if we work together, like if you're not a one-child family where all the burden of taking care of parents is on you, like, empower yourselves, all of you, to set up something for your parents, so that it is more of a communal thing of, like, we come together to look after our parents. The burden does not rest on one person.
That is if your parents haven't, been able to. Because, I mean,
some parents are able.
Some parents are able.
But also, like, if you can, like, if your parents get like a retirement package of a lump sum, I feel like it's better to invest it in a passive investment, like bonds, in like unit trusts, because nobody has to work. Your money just does the work for you, and you get an interest or at the end of a certain period. So your parents will be getting some money that will keep them going, instead of blowing away all the money when they get it. You know, money comes with excitement.
Yes, it does.
You get it, and like, you start getting ideas of what to do with that money. So instead of blowing it, you'd rather invest it so that they get money regularly, so that it lifts the burden off the children. Yeah.
And also to diversify, whatever it is that they're investing in, so that it's not just tagged to one thing. Because I've heard of experiences where people get their lump sum and then just maybe throw it in one thing, and it doesn't work, and the person is now back to zero. Someone has worked all their life, they've actually saved this money, and unfortunately, because of bad investment decisions, that's why NSSF has these classes, if I may call them that, where they're always teaching people about how do you invest your money after you've received it. And then also, when it comes to investing money, is something that they say that at a certain age, there are certain things you shouldn't invest in. For example, that's why they encourage people who are like at the retirement age, invest in things that are more liquid, like that, like you were saying, the bonds, as much as possible, try to avoid real estate if you're looking at it as a source of income for you, because it's
The
more of a
money, it's a
generational
long-term
thing. Yeah.
thing.
So it's your children and your children's children who are going to benefit from it as opposed to you. But if you're looking at it as something for you to get income, then look at things that will bring in like constant cash flows, where you can easily go get your money if you need it, like the unit trusts, bonds. You can't get it easily. You're tied in, you're locked into a period, but then at least you need trusts. You can easily get your money.
Yeah.
Although I feel like when we steer the conversations towards NSSF, we're looking at the people that served in the informal sector,
The formal sector.
informal sector, because those ones back then there was no voluntary remittance or benefits. Yes, so maybe right now the generations have been blessed so that NSSF is allowing that whether you have a formal job, whether you don't have a formal job, you're in the informal sector, you are under an SMB, you were able to stay, so you can still get that money. But back then that privilege was not there. But also back then it was kind of hard to get your remittances back, like the benefits. Maybe right now they have streamlined the system.
Yeah, I think they have, because I've known people who have gotten their midterm access. Yeah. Like I know 2 people so far who have been able to get their midterm. It's about 20%. And they said it wasn't a very hard process. Yeah. So when you even do it online.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
When you talked about the informal sector, I thought about circles. How safe is
Your
is
money
there
circles,
money in circles? I mean, do you think are there some circles that are trustworthy, so to say, that you can rely on them and say that you can put some money there, and maybe they can always go there if they need to get something. So for you keep putting for them money, so they can always get some money when they need it. But assess the legitimacy of the circle before you go for it.
There are those that have been around for a while. Those ones I think can be trusted.
But also, I think the government has put up an entity for regulation of circles. Yeah, so currently I think, I don't recall the name of that entity. Is it under Algra?
I'm not too sure, but we can do research around that.
Yeah,
to ensure
actually
that
literally, because there was a time the president was so big on circles, because even this money for program development, what is it called? PDM, parish development model. The PDM money is being channeled through circles. Circles are currently kind of legit.
Yeah.
So if you want,
there are options available for everyone in this day and age. Honestly, you can't say that there was no option available for you.
For you to save,
save
your money.
I know, so that you don't depend on your children.
And when we say parents,
I'm speaking because my parents don't ask for
our
money.
parents,
You are speaking from a point of privilege.
Yes.
You guys say things that will not be taken
Privileged Aisha. But yeah, make use of every opportunity you have.
But black tax is real. And I know that it is such a burden to young couples. Because you have a young family to take care of, and you also have an extended family that you have to, meet their needs. So, really, to be honest, this is a conversation that is hard to have, but it is necessary.
But
like,
we have to have
them.
Yeah, otherwise, if we don't talk about it on timeless conversations, who will?
But even as a couple, have the conversation during courtship as well. Talk about things like, by the way, I always send money to my parents every month. So that when you do so when you're now married, it's not a shocker. Yes. So talk about these things. Like when they say talk about finances, these are some of the things to talk about. It's like be as open as possible, because when you're as open as possible, then it makes things easy.
It helps you avoid this kind of conflict in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
But also, I think that we need to set boundaries around black tax. I feel like we can't please everyone.
No, you cannot.
So define the people that you're going to be able to help, like regularly, and then those that you help when you are able to, because it's going to take a toll on you as an individual. You won't be able to save for your retirement if you're always giving. So you need to plan and have limits, set boundaries, and communicate them. Tell your folks that me, I can only give you this much every month. Try and work around this amount, so that in the future you don't have to, like, because you can work around it and know that this is the amount that I'm giving, so that you have a pocket for saving. So that's my thought. What boundaries do you guys?
For me, the boundary ultimately is about knowing who to give. Because, I mean, there are so many people who are so wasteful and yet very, very entitled. Like, have you met those people? Like, for me, I'm starving myself to be able to give out a kalito. And then there is you receiving that kalito and boring. If you're coming to my inbox asking for money, I don't expect you to be posting in places where I've not been able to afford to go.
We shall not post. We shall eat the money
silently.
silently.
Get the money and eat it silently, because that way I won't feel bad. Have you seen people who are always borrowing, but
and then they are bowling?
They are partying and going to places where you can't even afford to go. Yet you're the one who is giving.
Well,
and then the people who are really wasteful.
Wastefulness.
I want you to come from a point of need, not a point of want.
And luxury.
Because I can't afford that luxury. Because I'm giving to you, man.
So you reminded me of, so you know there are classes, or should I say categories to this. So there's the young people, because I have siblings who are younger than me.
Specific.
Exactly. Hi, my Gen Z siblings. So my siblings are Gen Z. And honestly, like every now and then, I make it a point when I have excess cash flow. And they also understand. When I have, I give them. Now, whether they spend it on bowling, like, really,
it's okay.
Yes. And with that age group, like, it's okay, you'd also understand. Because the money they're asking
are
you
for.
for.
Giving it to them for investing?
Actually, like money for my birthday. I have a friend's birthday party, I need to buy this. But as the age group keeps shifting,
yes,
then the expectations also change. And also my expectations of you change. Like, I expect you to be able to meet these basic things. So
absolutely,
I agree with you.
And then also now when it comes to the category of our parents, so like the dynamics are different. But when you talked about the entitlement and all that, I feel like sometimes it comes off so bad.
Yes,
and
it does.
I don't know if they realize it.
No, they don't.
They don't.
Like, it's just so unfortunate that someone comes to you and in their minds like, yeah, I'm expecting you to give it to me. But sometimes you don't know the challenges I am having. And
you remind me of a story I read. Some chick was sick. So her cousin calls her up asking if they can give them some money. So this chick tells them that, you know what, I'm not well. So I am not able to help right now, maybe another time. And then this person tells her, so when are you getting well so I can get that money?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm like, that is the level of entitlement we're talking about here.
You're not even empathetic that I am sick.
I don't want to know about your sickness.
You just want the money.
Like,
that's the point where I lose it.
Yes.
I'm like, no, I'm not giving it to you. I am sick. And I'm going to try and get better and use the money to get better.
Still, they will come back after some time. Like, you know, for me, it really comes down to what level of financial transparency. Because if I tell you that I don't have money, right now I'm in a crisis, I expect you to leave me alone. These things of hanging around waiting for me to get better so I can give you money. Whether I'm sick or not, I don't have money.
That's why we need to learn to say no.
And not feel guilty.
And not feel guilty about it. And even if, regardless of how the other person feels, if you're not able to just be honest and say no. And for them, if they feel bad, that's their problem. For you, you've told them your truth. You're like, I don't have this money. Don't feel guilty. Move on with your life. But when I feel like that also has some sort of context. When your parents are sick or your siblings, or like they're ill and they need like constant medication, they need help. I feel like that dynamic is different.
Obligation.
Sometimes, sometimes it can even push you to debt just to be able to save or prolong their life. So the dynamics are really different, and we can go on and on talking about black tax. But bottom line is set boundaries around this and learn to say no without feeling any form of guilt, because takers don't have limits. They will take and take and take. So thank you, ladies, for sharing your thoughts around this conversation. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you so much. We hit 300 subscribers. Now we are looking at 500.
500, we can do this.
So tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe.
But also our content is fire.
Right?
Our content is nice.
We'll be dropping gems so that you guys don't go through the things that we have gone through. So please share with us your experiences around black tax in the comment section. How has it been going your side? How do you deal with it? How have you made sure that it has not overwhelmed you as a young person who is also trying to build a life for themselves? Because sometimes these things deter us from the progress that we could have achieved. So share with us your thoughts in the comment section. And also give us a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm to pick our content and share it widely. So it doesn't take much, really. Just click the thumbs up. It's a nice video, right?
It is.
Yeah. Shout out to HD Media, who shot and produced this. And see you next time.
Bye.